Hi there, and welcome back to Biyajimenez. In my last PAL video, I flew premium economy for the very first time from Manila to Sydney. This time, join me on my 8-hour journey back to the Philippines in economy class with our flag carrier, Philippine Airlines. With Sydney's first 24-hour airport, Western Sydney International, set to open in late 2026, the country's main gateway, Sydney Airport, has unveiled its ambitious 2045 Masterplan to compete with its new rival located 44 kilometers away. One of the biggest changes proposed is a major terminal expansion that will merge the T2 and T3 domestic terminals into a single unified hub. It's the most significant upgrade to Sydney Airport since the 2000 Olympics, and by 2045, they're expecting to welcome up to 72 million passengers a year. The plan also includes 12 new international gates and 2 more at the existing T1 terminal, which means more capacity, smoother passenger connections, and improved efficiency for airlines. Now back to the video. The morning rush at the international terminal had my Uber diverted to the arrivals area because of the congestion at departures. I arrived at Sydney Airport just under 3 hours before my flight. To my surprise, there were barely any lines when I got there. I'd already completed online check-in 24 hours earlier, so all I had to do was drop off my checked baggage and pick up my boarding pass. At the counter, the airport staff will also ask if you've accomplished the e-travel form, a requirement for entry into the Philippines. Check-in was quick and easy, so let's now head to security. If you're new to the channel, my name is Earl, and welcome to Biyajimenez. I do trip reports and airport lounge tours, so if you love aviation content, please consider subscribing. Thanks to the recent upgrades, security at Sydney Airport is now a lot more convenient. However, some passengers still seem unsure about whether they need to take their laptops out of their cabin bags. I guess it'll take a bit more time before everyone gets used to the new system. Passport control was also quite packed due to the heavy morning traffic, but I was through in less than 20 minutes. I still had some time before boarding, so I decided to head to the lounge. The House Lounge by Aspire is open to Priority Pass members and can also be accessed by business class passengers of several airlines, including Philippine Airlines. Access can also be purchased at the reception for 82 Australian dollars. I used my MasterCard Travel Pass benefit from my credit card to get in. Formerly the Etihad Lounge, it features an expansive seating area with views of the tarmac, a separate dining space, and workstations. Not much has changed in the food offering since my visit here in June of last year. It's still the usual breakfast spread of eggs, chipolatas, and bread. I haven't visited at other times of the day, so I'm not sure what they serve for lunch or dinner. The only new addition here is the sparkling water machine, which lets you customize and mix different flavors. There's also a coffee machine at the buffet, but you can order Barista-made coffee at the bar if you prefer. It's almost time for boarding, so let's now head to the gate. Our aircraft for today's flight is an 11-year-old Airbus A330-300 Romeo Papa Charlie 8789er. Welcome on board Philippine Airlines flight PR212 bound for Manila. Economy class is arranged in the standard 242 configuration, and my seat for today is 58K. Waiting at each seat is a pair of headphones, a pillow, and a blanket. As I've mentioned in my previous videos, I'm not really a fan of the material PAL uses for their economy class pillowcases. Legroom is quite decent at about 32 inches. And if you're seated by the window, you get a bit of extra space to lean on. The tray table is smaller than usual. It slides back and forth, but you can't fold it in half. In the seat back pocket, you'll find the safety card and an air sickness bag.
Please be reminded of power bank at all times. Please wait for the announcement before charging your...
The 10-inch touchscreen TV is very responsive with a crisp resolution, although you can't adjust it to your preferred viewing angle. Below the screen is a USB-A charging port and a headphone jack. Unfortunately, there are no power sockets or individual air vents available in this cabin. Finally, the headrest is adjustable. You can move it up and down and fold the sides inward for better support and comfort.
PR212, bound for Manila. Our heartfelt thanks to our Mabuhay Milers for your continued patronage to our flag carrier. We request all passengers to occupy your assigned seats for the duration of the flight. If you are seated next in row, you are required by civil aviation regulation to read a passenger briefing card. If you need to be reseated, please inform our cabin crew now.
It took us a while before pushback as we were still waiting for more passengers to arrive.
Mabuhay! Welcome on board this Philippine Airlines flight. Before we depart, we want to let you know how much we care about your safety.
Smoking in the airplane is strictly prohibited. This includes the use or charging of e-cigarettes. Daiyan pwede.
Also, tampering with, disabling, or destroying lavatory smoke detectors.
Wait for instructions to go into this brace position.
In case of a water landing, your life vest can be found on... From Philippine Airlines, the heart of the Filipino.
Soon after takeoff, the cabin crew came around to distribute amenity kits to all passengers. This is the same kit you'd get in premium economy. Inside, you'll find a pair of socks, an eye mask, and a dental kit. PAL's entertainment system on this plane is quite decent, and compared to the bi-class A330's use on Middle East routes, this is definitely a big step up. The selection features a good mix of old and new Hollywood blockbusters as well as a range of Asian films. However, for a Philippine carrier, the lack of Filipino content is pretty noticeable. I really wish they added more local movies and series. TV shows are also available, though most only include a few random episodes instead of full seasons, unlike what you'd usually see on other Asian carriers with more extensive libraries. Music is available too, but the selection is fairly basic. As for my favorite part, in-flight maps are available, but unfortunately, it's just a slideshow. You can't really interact with it or play around with the settings. About 30 minutes after takeoff, the cabin crew began the lunch service. There were two choices on offer: braised beef with mashed potatoes, or sweet and sour fish with rice. It was a bit silly of me to assume, but as a Filipino, this was the sweet and sour dish I had in mind, and not this. The fish itself was a little dry, and I wish it had more sauce to balance it out. That said, the portion to rice ratio was pretty decent. Unfortunately, the bread roll was served cold and a bit hard to chew. Philippine Airlines also uses a thicker type of plastic cutlery in economy instead of metal ones. Not long after, the crew came back with another round of drinks, and nothing makes me happier than the full can of Coke, even if this one's calling me marupok. Around noon, the cabin lights were dimmed, and everyone was asked to close the window shades. Let's do a quick lavatory tour on this PAL Tri-Class A330. Inside, you'll find some napkins, the standard sink and trash bin, PAL's in-house cologne, hand wash and lotion. There's also the toilet, and finally a coat hook. Here's a closer look at the blanket provided in economy class. My flights with PAL are never complete without a cup of their signature brewed coffee, so I was happy to see it featured and highlighted in this advert. About 2 hours before landing, the cabin lights were switched on and the crew came around with hot towels for all passengers, followed by a light snack service. the snack was surprisingly good. The muffin also paired perfectly with my favorite pal brewed coffee.
International airport, and we have begun our descent. Based on the latest weather report, we're expecting partly cloudy weather in Manila with light winds, dawn temperature of 32 degrees Celsius. We estimate our arrival time now to be at 4:15. Time checks now 3:45. We'll inform you if there be any changes, and please enjoy the rest of the flight. We would like to thank you for choosing to fly Philippine Airlines, the heart of the Filipino mabuhay.
We've started our descent into Manila, so let me conclude this trip report with Philippine Airlines. Our journey began at Sydney Airport, where check-in and baggage drop were quick and easy. Thanks to the recent terminal upgrades, security and passport control were much smoother and faster, even with the morning rush. The house lounge is a nice, quiet spot to relax in while waiting for your flight, although the food selection is quite basic and nothing special. If you have free access, you might as well make use of it, but I don't think the food alone is worth paying for. Once on board, the reintroduction of the tri-class A330 configuration is definitely a welcome sight on this route. Legroom was decent and the seat was well padded, providing good comfort for this 8-hour daytime flight. The only drawback for me was the main meal, but to be fair to Pal, I've had only a few outstanding meals when flying out of Sydney, so this might be more of a catering issue rather than the airline's fault. The snacks served before landing were tasty, and I'm happy to report that my favorite house blend coffee remains consistently good. And of course, the service from Pal's cabin crew was excellent as always. For years, this has been the airline's strongest advantage amidst its aging aircraft and inconsistent hard products. But with new aircraft arrivals and retrofitted A321ceos slowly entering service, we can expect PAL to finally match its signature service with more consistent and world-class soft and hard products. This will definitely make them more competitive in the ever-fierce Asia-Pacific aviation market. Overall, it was another pleasant long-haul flight with Philippine Airlines. As for ticket prices, a one-way journey on this route can cost around $406, while a round trip typically goes for about $650. That said, I was able to score a round-trip economy class ticket for just $588, so it definitely pays to keep an eye out for airline sales. Thank you so much for joining me on this trip report. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like and consider sharing this video with your family and friends. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this Philippine Airlines trip report in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell button so you stay updated and never miss out on future content. I look forward to having you again in my next video. For now, sit back and enjoy our landing in Manila, followed by a short vlog of Sydney. Bye!
Philippine Airlines welcomes you to Manila. Local time is 22 minutes past the hour 4 in the afternoon. And the date today is the 13th of June 2025. Ground temperature is recorded at 32 degrees centigrade. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the seatbelt sign is switched off. For an orderly manner of disembarkation, passengers must remain seated and await instructions for deplaning. We shall commence passenger deplaning as soon as we receive clearance to do so. May I remind you to take precaution when opening the overhead stowage bins to retrieve your items, as these may have shifted during the flight. All passengers when connecting flights. Thank you for flying Philippine Airlines. We hope you enjoyed your flight and we look forward to seeing you again soon. To those passengers with immediate connecting flights, or ground staff are properly stationed in the passengers who are in need of